Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Cannon Busters, episodes 4, 5, and 6. So, you may be wondering right off the bat, okay, why are we doing 3 episodes all of a sudden? Well, the answer is simple, because we need to catch up. See, 2 new shows are coming out. I've talked about this on other videos, but 2 new shows are coming out within the next few weeks that I want to react to. Shaman King 2021 and mind is blanking, My Hero Season 5. And in order to get to them, I need to finish out the shows currently in the only slots I can validly put them in. I've talked about it already in other videos, but that means I have to push back to returning to Digimon 2020 and Pandora Hearts a little more. But to be honest, I am more excited for these other shows at the moment. I will still get back to those other ones, but yeah. So My Hero will be replacing Free, and that just works out with timing if I do 1 episode a week. But then there's Cannon Busters, so I have to finish that before Shaman King. And Shaman King starts on April 1st. So in order to finish that on time, we have 3 weeks. We have these next 3 weeks, the 15th, which is today, the 22nd, and the 29th. Because if it starts on the 1st, that means the first Monday reaction will be on the 5th. So for these next 3 weeks, based on where we're at, I have to do 3 episodes each. And that will finish it out on the 29th with episode 12. And excuse me. And I'm not by any means upset about having to do this. I enjoy what we've had of this show so far. I'm excited to see more. And it's just that I wanted to pace this out a little better, but then I realized these shows were coming and I needed to make room for them and everything. So yeah, it kind of snuck up on me a lot quicker than I was expecting. Which won't happen with Dragon Maid S when that comes in July. I'm actually expecting that one a lot more. I know when that one's coming. So I'll try my best to be as ready for that one as possible. And like I said, we'll get back to the other stuff. We're still going to get back to Digimon Adventure 2020. We're still going to get back to Pandora Hearts. It's just the breaks that they're on have to be put off a little more than I wanted. But again, we will be back. So that being said, for the time being, we're just going to continue and see what we have for the rest of this series. So last time in episode 3, we finished off the oh, excuse me. I knew that was coming. I could feel it coming. Last time we finished off the little storyline with the seemingly cannibalist. I don't know if it ever actually said they were cannibals, but they at least used the body parts and shit to make leather and whatnot. But you got to assume they were, based on everything. So we finished off the little storyline with the cannibalistic family. They were taken out without too much trouble. The daughter gave the most, and she ended up getting vaporized in the end by Sam. So that was fun. And in the end, the brothers were the only survivors left until the guard robots came and killed them. So yeah, not even they survived. Um, so yeah, gonna be interesting to see where this goes next because we're kind of like keeping the slate fresh again. Um, we don't really have anything ongoing outside of just the continuing journey to where they've got to go. Um, we have the stuff with the prince. We got a brief glimpse at that last time. He's still traveling alongside Odin. Um, and we found out that the sorcerer is actually the firstborn son of the king. We don't know why he looks the way he does or how he got these magic powers, but we do know that he was the firstborn son and that the king abandoned him and his mother for some reason. We don't know why, but we know that it happened. So, yeah, some interesting stuff. If not maybe a little generic, like you've seen this kind of thing before. You've definitely seen before like the kind of thing like, oh, you forget your own child's face and it's like the villain is actually like the son of a character or whatnot. Like you've seen this before. But it's not so much about whether or not it's been done before, it's about how it's executed. Because let's be honest, almost nothing is original these days. So it's all about execution at this point. And so far, I don't have any big issues. But in terms of that part of the plot line, I don't really have much to talk about at all. It just hasn't done anything yet. Like that's more of the catalyst for everything else that's happening. At the moment, that side of the plot line just hasn't had its own room to breathe, its own room to just stand out. Everything else is the more interesting stuff. The stuff with Philly the Kid and Sam and whatnot. The stuff back in the kingdom, it's like it's building up to something, and I'm hoping that the payoff is fitting and good. But yeah, so we got 3 episodes to get through here, and that's good because, funny enough, I actually just had figured out that we needed to do this way, and I just happened to have 3 episodes already downloaded. It just worked out. um, but yeah, it's no problem at all. We can get through 3 episodes. I mean, I do 4 episodes of One Piece a week, so it's not that like I can't do that. Plus on One Piece weeks, like I would do like at least 5 reactions of 4 episodes each. At least this last one I did. So yeah, kind of insane. I can handle it. That's all I'm saying. So we're going to get this started and see what we've got in store. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Well, episodes. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So, this was an interesting set of episodes for sure, and my hair is not cooperating with me, as always. There, that's a little better at least. just one brush straight down. So the first 2 episodes, let's focus on those, because the third episode here was definitely a completely different plot point and whatnot. So let's focus on the first 2. So in the first 2 episodes, we're introduced to Nine. Nine is a former Ronin who has abandoned his group after it seems like they've just kind of been defeated and decimated and just have not much left to them. We get a brief flashback during these of like when he was younger alongside an ally of his. They ended up taking out this entire house, which included a family and stuff. And that included this little kid who was just trying to defend her family and survive. And yeah, pretty gruesome and horrible. Um, and maybe it wasn't clear why that backstory was flashed on the screen at first, but I'm starting to think maybe it was to show why he left the Ronin in the first place. That he felt like this kind of stuff they were doing wasn't right. I kind of wish they expressed that a little better, but that's kind of what I'm getting from it. 12, who is Nine's close friend and kind of love interest, because he mentions that he loves them. Um, it is using these like mechanical insects as a method of attack and just in general information gathering and spying and whatnot, used for all that kind of stuff. So they're a really interesting character, and I wonder if we'll see more of them. I'm very sure we're going to see more of Nine, but I wonder if we'll end up seeing more of 12 and their robot friend Victoria. But Nine, as we see, is kind of a drunk. He loves beer. He loves snacks and just kind of enjoying life in general. Not too much to him otherwise. Like otherwise, outside of being like kind of this drunk old man and um, being a really strong, powerful, skilled samurai. It's like that's kind of the gist of his character so far. He has an interesting personality. He's fun. He's entertaining and everything. But again, I think I'm going to have to wait to reserve judgment on him until we see a little more of him down the line. Because again, it's clear he's going to come back. The opening like paints him as like a big member of the crew. Excuse me. Plus, it shows him breathing fire, which we haven't seen him do yet. It also shows him in combat against the enemies who we saw. So, the enemies from episode 1 return briefly and are confronted and attacked by the new enemies who are working for the sorcerer. Um, and they kill one of the gang, and it seems like they're trying to conscript the others to work with them. And again, the one crazy lady, I heard again that she was voiced by someone I know, and I can't for the life of me remember. But we didn't get more of those characters outside of that one scene these episodes, so I don't know. I don't know who voices her. I haven't even heard her speak yet, so hard to say. I'm calling her Crazy Lady because of how she's displayed in the opening. Keep in mind. But all of these people seem like they're also robots, similar to Sam. So I wonder if they might be cannon busters too. I mean, that possibility exists that there might be others like her. Um, excuse me. So there's definitely an interest factor there. And then in our third episode here, it kind of switched focuses with our friendly neighborhood redskin samurai gone, having chosen to depart the group for the time being. Um, we find out that Philly is planning on selling Sam and Casey to someone he owes a bar debt to, though we don't know the actual bar debt part till later on. But he's so they go to the city while he's continuing to trick them on his true intentions. But when they get there, they find no one there. Like, no one. The city is completely abandoned, and just everything is gone. while searching the city for just supplies and stuff that they can take, um, Sam ends up coming across two survivors hiding in a closet. They're terrified of something called the Fetter, who we end up finding out is this kind of magical being. The Fetter apparently is a type of sorcerer that is like birthed through magic in some way, and it needs to devour the souls of people in order to survive, which is really disturbing but interesting. Um, and it's interesting too because with Philly, when it devours him, it leaves behind his body, but with other people, it seems to devour everything, including their physical forms. And it kind of like dissolves them in a way from what we saw. So I'm curious as to what the reason for that is. But it ends up capturing Philly and just basically continuously feeding off of him due to his immortality abilities, powers, whatever you want to call it. um, Sam and Casey start to look for him after finding out about the Fetter and everything, and hear him screaming in pain and everything. And so Sam goes cannon buster mode, locates them, fights, and manages to defeat the Fetter, though he does. The Fetter does give one hell of a fight. Much more so than anything else has against her cannon buster form. But we had also found out during this time about Philly's backstory. So, when Philly was a young kid, the farm him and his parents lived on, was attacked, and his parents were killed by Boudica. We don't know why. We have no clue. But afterwards, Philly ended up finding a sorcerer who gave him the power of immortality as a way to seek revenge. But he didn't. He chose instead to just not. So there's a few questions that come into this. One, why did Boudica attack his family's farm? Like, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like something they would necessarily need to do, but there might be a reason. I don't know. Excuse me for all the yawning, by the way. Another question is, what if it wasn't Boudica? Like, it looked like the Boudican robots, but what if it was actually like a trick? What if this was some kind of like plan for the long game from the sorcerer, the son of the king? That's an interesting thought, I feel. Because I don't know, it's just I can't think of a reason that Boudica would have to. Because again, at that point, Boudica wasn't like taken control of by the sorcerer, so that wasn't an issue. But I don't know. I don't know. So we find out the origin of Philly's immortality with this. He got it from a sorcerer, or who was seemingly a sorcerer at least, for the sake of vengeance. And he just chose not to act on it. But now it's kind of looking like he's thinking of doing so. He's actually, at the end of this third episode here, he seemed a lot more gung-ho about getting them to Boudica, or getting them to Gara's Keep, rather. Um, and he seems like he wants revenge on the prince, maybe. Like, that scene, like, they mentioned the prince, and he seemed like, again, gung-ho about getting them there. So it's like, why suddenly is he going after this? Like, did he forget somehow about his about what happened in his past, or I don't know? It just seems weird that he'd suddenly like go after this. If he had somehow forgotten about his past before, that would at least make a somewhat amount of sense. But otherwise, I can't think of a reason why he wouldn't have. He knew who they were and where they were going and why they were going there. So it's like it's not that he didn't know. It's this series is super enjoyable. I'm having a fun time, but there are some things that I'm really questioning about how it's being handled, and I don't know how it's like in the original comic it's based off of. But there's some things that I am questioning about. Like again, some things just don't quite add up to me. Like the entire thing about Philly just now choosing to be so gung ho about this, despite him knowing that was their goal all along. Is it because the robot reminded him of that? Again, but that would kind of go like he would have to have forgotten. If he remembered that, if he knew about that the entire time, then why wouldn't he have thought like had this thought process before? It just I feel like it doesn't add up. Um, Now the good far outweighs the bad. I'm having more fun with this than I am like confused and unsure about how it's going. I think the good and the enjoyment of it is still outweighing my negatives, but this series is clearly not perfect. It's clearly got a few excuse me again. It's clearly got a few issues that I feel could have been workshopped a little better. But if this does get a second season, maybe they'll be able to work out some of those issues and make it better going forward. Um, and again, I still enjoy this. I still have been really loving this series, but I'm not going to deny if it has issues or not. I'm not going to say like it's fine, even if it's not. It has some problems. It has some holes in it, and I just I want to acknowledge that because I like the show. I want to acknowledge that it's not perfect. I feel I've said it before, and I'll say it here. I feel like if you deny that a series has these kinds of issues when it does, then you're kind of disrespecting the show. It feels disrespectful to the show to just praise them unconditionally when there's issues. Because how can the creators and staff behind a show improve for future seasons or whatever, or future shows even, if they don't think that there's any flaws, if no one points out those flaws? It, they need to know those to improve, and on top of that, you can't just like automatically proclaim a series to be perfect if it's not, if it's clearly not. And this will definitely affect different people in different ways. Like, not everyone's going to have the same problems with every little thing. It's all subjective and all. But yeah, it's just when you find those issues for yourself, you got to acknowledge them, I feel. Even if other people won't necessarily find the same issues. But yeah. So either way, I'm definitely interested to see where this goes now. We have 2 more weeks to go after this. So 2 more reactions, and that'll finish out the season. I don't know if there's going to be another season, but if there is, I do hope that maybe they fix some of the issues with it that season 1 has had so far. And either way, I hope they keep it as entertaining nonetheless. So, in the meantime, tell me your thoughts in the comments below, and thank you all so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.